Welcome to myvelocitybanking.com, where we are dedicated to saving you money by using the Velocity Banking strategy. So if you haven't already done so, head over to the site myvelocitybanking.com and sign up for free and start entering your information to see how you'll be able to save thousands of dollars in interest. All right, so we're going to jump it right into an example of one of our users. So he's already entered his information. Income, expenses, and the cash flow, and of course the total debt that he is trying to pay off. What's really neat about this application is that it actually tells you how long it's going to take you to pay off any of these debts using the Velocity Banking method. What's also cool is that it visually displays the debts as well, so you get a sense of which one is the highest and which one is going to probably take you the longest to pay off. So let's see what he's entered in. So obviously this is a dual income family, so there's two incomes in here. What's really neat about this application is it just updates automatically. So let's say he made an extra $200 a month. He puts this in here, he does the submit, and you'll see that these values will automatically increase just like that. And it's also, and that's, so we're going to put this back again. That's the same for all the expenses, the groceries, the gas, the electric bill, all the expenses. You just put it all in there, and then you get to the debts. Now they've got 2 mortgages and 2 credit cards and a line of credit. So this right here is kind of important. So if you have a line of credit or a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, you just put it in here. And this will probably be your primary debt tool to implement in the Velocity Banking strategy. So once that is done, you just hit Get Report. And this is the best part of this application, is that it breaks down your debts for you. It gives you a little overview of your debts, and then it gives you a plan. Here's where things get interesting, because this plan actually breaks it down what to pay first, and which chunks, and how to pay the chunks payments, and how to make the chunk, and what to make in the chunk payments. So here it's saying that you use your line of credit to actually pay off these debts, and it tells you you can make just over $13,000 every 6 months in chunk payments, and that's based on your cash flow and a little bit more calculation that it does. And it says for your first chunk, you can knock off this BMO Black credit card, and then you could start tackling the Scotia Momentum. You could actually put a big chunk of your chunk payment into that Scotia Momentum credit card. And it says for the next 6 months, just keep making regular payments on this Scotia Momentum card. And then at month 6, you do another chunk payment. And what's interesting is every time you do a chunk payment, you don't have to make a regular payment, because doing a chunk payment actually satisfies that month's payment, so you don't have to worry about it. And you just keep doing the regular payments that you would ordinarily. And here, you just leave your cash flow in. You just leave your cash flow, and the cash flow actually pays down this chunk payment. And that's the key to the Velocity Banking strategy. It's all about cash flow. The higher the cash flow, the faster you can pay down the debt, because the bigger chunk payments you can make. So for this Scotia Momentum is done in about a year, about 12 months. This one's done, and then it says, then the app is saying, okay, now you tackle your line of credit, because there's obviously a balance before for that line of credit. So now it's just saying, now here's what's interesting. For this one, you don't have to do any regular payments. You just leave your cash flow in every month. Don't do anything, just leave your cash flow in, and that in itself will pay off your line of credit in about 25 months, actually 24 months, because this last bit is not a full payment. You will have this line of credit paid off. So then you move on to this business loan. Now here we see that now that these 3 debts are paid off, our cash flow has totally gone up, and we'll see that the chunk payments that we can make has also increased. Before we were making about $13,000 in chunk payments, but now we can make about just over $15,000 in chunk payments. Same thing, every 6 months you make the chunk payments, and you just keep making your regular payments the other months that you don't do the chunk payments. And this cash flow pays off the chunks. You just keep doing that, rinse and repeat. And about 17 months, you've paid off, I think this was about $65,000 in debt. So just over a year and a half, you would have paid off that. So you get a nice report at the end, how long it's going to take you. So $165,000, $762.85 will be paid off in about 4.83 years. Now, this is really conservative because we noticed that not all months are used up with the chunk payments. So this is the maximum it will ever take you to pay off this if you just follow the strategy and the chunk payments. And then once all your non-mortgage debt is paid off, then you move on to the mortgage. Same deal. Now we'll notice that the chunk payments that I can make has gone up. Then you tackle the first mortgage, and that's going to take you, so we scroll down, so you'll have that paid off in about 50 months. And then you get to the second one again. Now look how big of a chunk payment we can actually make now. Before we were making about $16,000 in chunk payments, so this goes up to about $26,000 because you no longer need to make these monthly payments because this one's paid off and all your other debts are paid off. So it's just adding up. So by the time you get to this one, you could pay off this debt in like record time because the chunk payments are so high. Same deal. It's you just kind of, you just leave your cash flow in and that will pay off your chunk payments and you just keep making the regular payments. And in about 11 years, almost 12 years, you would have paid off over $500,000 in debt. So that's the power of this website that breaks it down for you in really easy to understand months and payments. And that's the power of the Velocity Banking strategy.